Okay, welcome Youth Gone Wild. It's my utmost pleasure to have sitting next to me someone that all listeners of Youth Gone Wild will remember and will know quite well. We're talking about the big man Bob Sapp from the United States of America. Most of our listeners will remember him from his fights in the mixed martial arts, and I have the privilege of interviewing him here at about, how high are we, Bob?
I think we're about maybe 20,000 feet above, is that in the air? Or should we say above sea level?
I think the correct term is above sea level, yeah. 20,000 feet, so for our listeners, we do meters in Australia, so that'd be about divided by 3, yeah? Yes. 6,500 meters.
There you go.
Bob, welcome to Youth Gone Wild in Australia. We're going to Zagreb right now. Can we start off by asking what takes you to Zagreb?
Well, now first, you've got to say my name right. It's Bob the Beast Sapp. Hell yeah.
I'm very sorry. Sorry about that, mate. Don't hurt me, please. Bob the Beast Sapp it is.
Yes.
Well, Bob the Beast Sapp, what takes you to Zagreb?
Well, I'm off now to actually have a layover in Zagreb for the big fight in Dubrovnik against Mario Pernak. And, you know, hey, he's MMA, big star here for Croatia. So the Beast has got to kind of get some revenge on some of the Croatians. I think I've only won one time in Croatia. And actually, come to think of it, that might have been my only loss for the year, or my only win for the year, I should say, in the year 2011. So now, 2012, well, we want to mark that the year of the Beast.
Okay, and that fight that you won in Croatia, I believe that took about 1 minute. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. And so it's one of the things where you've got a lot of body weight, and I just happen to lean on him, and some of those cheeseburgers paid off.
Some of those cheese, but that's why you're at the front here in business class, yeah?
Absolutely. It's occasionally, I don't mind flying economy, but I sit back in the economy and everyone gets a little bit scared of me, or you can imagine they say, don't rub next to me, don't touch me, all of that stuff. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. That was from the stewardess. Okay, I better, just let me back up. No one really wants me to sit next to them. Maybe I snore.
Excellent. And moving on to Mario Pernak.
Yes.
Do you know anything of his background? I believe he started off as a boxer.
Oh,
He was signed by Don King. Do you know anything of his background?
He is great. I mean, he's a great judo guy. He's a great striker. He's an amazing, like you said, boxer. He does all of that good stuff. Hey, it's absolutely incredible. Let's see if he can get it done here doing MMA. Of course, really, he utilizes more judo than I've seen him with too much. I haven't seen him use too much stand-up, but he's a big guy. And, hey, let's face it. If the Beast is going to continue in MMA, he's got to get some victories, and I've got to do so very quickly.
And in Dubrovnik would be a lovely place to do it. Have you ever visited Dubrovnik before?
No, this will be my first time. Before, I was in Split, Croatia.
Okay. Well, Split, is a beautiful city also. Was that in summer or in winter?
I believe that was almost like in winter, because they were telling me that they're getting ready for some really powerful windstorms. So
we call that Bura.
Oh my goodness!
And there are plenty of powerful windstorms around Split. None more so than when Dinamo Zagreb comes to town to play the annual soccer derby match. But that's another topic of discussion.
I love it.
And moving on with the MMA, could you please let us know how was that fight with Mirko Krokop, one that's very famous for all Croatians, and I think like myself, most Croatians were very fearful seeing you stand up at the beginning of the fight, towering over Mirko. Could you tell us a little bit about the lead up to that fight, and of course your famous Bob the Judge?
Yes.
Was it the judge? Yeah. Before the fight in the press conference, where Mirko was left a little bit red faced, I believe.
Yes, absolutely.
And was that an intimidation tactic? Could you take us through the lead up to the fight?
Okay, so back then I believe that was in the year 2006 or maybe 2004. Hey, always remember I'm a bit punchy. So what led up to that fight is I had defeated the world champion in kickboxing. Now this was a kickboxing match. So, a little bit different from MMA, but consider it to be basically MMA with boxing gloves on. So, anything you can do standing up is fine. We just never allow it to go on the ground. Miracle Krokop is very famous for having what's known as a high kick. It's actually a left high kick, and believe me, he hits you, and let me tell you, you ain't paying your utility bill because it is lights out.
That's right. He famously said, "Right kick, hospital; left kick, cemetery."
That's absolutely correct. So, well, it was time for the Beast to face him. Right after I ended up defeating the world champ. Let me tell you, we came in, and I believe he might have packed the stadium full, Miracle Krokop, with over 30 to 50,000 Croatians into Japan, and the rest were all Japanese. It was so incredible. We only had standing room only, and the cover, that was when I was going to then, of course, because of that fight, be called the Beast from the East. I made the cover of Time magazine, and so they definitely continued to look at the popularity of K1, look at the popularity of the Beast, and of course these great K1 legends and fighting legends such as Miracle Krokop. Let's go fast forward to the ring. Well, maybe for me it's more of like a slow down. I actually was on Miracle fairly easily, fairly quick, and then all of a sudden, you know, he hit me with one of the kicks. I just blocked it, but the next punch would prove to be absolutely devastating. He would hit me on my right eye, and that would blow out my orbital. I went down, and although not knocked up, I definitely suffered a severe injury, and at that time, partial blindness to leave the ring. So Miracle Krokop is a very strong fighter. He, of course, ended up winning the fight, and I don't think the fight lasted more than about a minute and a half, you know, but it was absolutely an incredible fight. Well, what happened? Well, Miracle Krokop would then go on, because of his popularity, to, I believe, become something in the government in Croatia, a mayor or something like this.
Yeah,
And how about me? Well, the Beast went on to have every Tuesday and Wednesday between the hours of 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock on every channel in Japan, you saw the Beast. And that lasted for about a year.
For about a year?
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean by that? That was, sorry, I didn't see that. You mean you became a celebrity in Japan?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So currently to date, some people may not know this, but I hold all of the world records regarding the MMA, and especially MMA attendance. I have been the most merchandise or endorsed athlete, even still to this day. I had roughly about 400 products and another 20 main huge sponsors or huge endorsements, such as Panasonic and Pizzala, which is a major pizza company in Japan. So, I mean, and of course, hey, over those 400 products, we've got the Bob Sapp G-Shock watch, which is fabulous. They got Bob Sapp underwear, Bob Sapp ice cream, Bob Sapp candy, and I get hassled on this. Yes, they do have a Bob Sapp joystick for the ladies.
Is that right? They have a Bob Sapp joystick for the ladies.
That's right.
You're verifying that on Youth Gone Wild.
Absolutely, right. It's definitely verified.
Is that exclusive to the Japanese market, or
yeah,
just for our listeners in Australia?
Yeah, you know, it's awesome because you know, I get requests for they actually send them back to me. Sometimes male and sometimes female.
Well,
it's all
in the Longest Yard, your movie, of course, where you played quite a prominent role. You played the gay prisoner. Is that?
No, that is, of course, Big Stan. So Longest Yard, I was the big dumb guy in prison. Big Stan, the big gay guy in prison. So you know, I guess for them, the Beast is like a pillow biter. What's going on?
Well,
it's lovely to be adored.
Well, the Beast could mean anything, as those women from Japan could testify, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much for that information. That's new to me also. Just with the fight with Krokop, if I may ask you, and I'm sure you've been asked this before, and I'm wondering if you could verify, there was some, after the fight, speculation that the fight may have been rigged because of the punch. Some people thought that the punch was not that powerful, and of course, I'm sure from outsiders we can't tell, and nor do we know the power that some of you guys possess. Could you please?
Okay, so let's take. So what I'd like you to do is just take your make a fist, and then just cuff your other hand, whether it's your right or your left hand, depending on where you're making the fist. And just hit it right over that. You can kind of feel a little bit of air into that fist. Well, that is what's happened to me. So when Miracle Krokop actually hit the eyeball, that air pressure is what blew my eye socket out. And think of it as golf, a hole in one. You know, the golf ball being my eyeball, the big pocket being my eye socket, and the depth being the new hole that was created from the pressure. So my eyeball actually would roll back into my eye. So it does look like what some people would say phony, rigged, or even a lucky punch.